Hey, everybody, welcome back to Sergeant's Talk TV. Big Mike here. Hey, again, I'm alone this week, but there's a reason why. Jason and Tara, they are on their way to Ohio. They're taking Tara's dad up there to visit relatives and stuff like that. He said if they make it there, it's a 6-hour drive from Tennessee. They make it there, then he would come up on the live. But I don't think they've made it there, or if they found a place where they have connectivity or whatever. But hey, we're going to do this. We did a solo last week, and I want to thank everybody that came in after the show and watched that episode that we produced last week. Hey, tonight we got a good one for you. Tonight we're going to talk about picking an MOS. All right, if you've seen the thumbnail about So You Want to Be a Warrior, there's some things you've got to do when you're picking your MOS, things that you need to do on your own before you go to the recruiter during that time, and your selection process for the job that you want if you're coming into the military. For some of you guys, this is going to be old news. Some of you, if it was old news, like when I went in 1979, things have changed a little. So, hey, I'm glad you guys are here. So I think part of this is educating not only the young kids that want to go in, but also their parents to help them. I mean, because if your kid is head bound to join the military, you need to be involved in that so they make the best decision that they possibly can. And that's what tonight's all about. All right, before we do that, let's see who's in the chat. I see that Joe Fix It For You was in here or is in here. RNF Firestone Chickens, how you guys doing? There's Rebecca Touched by Yarn. She's in here. Oh, Joe's back in here. Our flipping farmstead, that's Dawn, my favorite female Marine's in here. Let's see. Anna Bohr, hello. People saying hello to each other. There's Neil S. Hey, Big Mike, I sent you. Yep, I seen the pictures of your chicken run. Looks awesome, brother. Terry brought them over here and showed me where you sent it to us. Tim ended his live a little early and hopped over here. Thank you very much. Anna Bohr. Neil S. All right. I just said your name. That's twice now. Terry said she's seen the great pictures of your chicken run and your setup. Judy Herman. Hello, hello. There's Butler Family Farm. Jerry, how are you doing? Abby G, hello, my friend. Let's see. Debbie Drock's in here. Glad to see you. Hey, Glenn and Shannon's in here from Glenn and Shannon's Salty Life. What do they got to say? They say the Army, the chow's mighty fine. Yeah, if you want diabetes when you get older, yeah, it's pretty good. I remember those cadences. Brings back a lot of bad memories. No judgment here with Tish Ross. Hello, hello, the podcast. There's Webb's Webb. How you doing, brother? Let's see. People saying hello. I'm scrolling and scrolling. Tim Mason, how you doing, brother? Hope you're feeling good. Hey, one thing I do want to say is prayers out to JB Conway over at Pure Okie. She is taken sick. She had to go to the hospital. I don't know what the status right now is. Last I heard, she was doing a lot better. So prayers out to her if you know her, or even if you don't know her. You know, I'm telling you, prayers help. No doubt about that. And And I think I got to the end. Hey, and if you haven't hit the thumbs up button or the thumbs down, either way, we appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, I think we got like 45% of the people that watch during the lives or afterward are subscribed to the channel. So we appreciate those who are subscribed to us. Everybody's saying hello. So guys, hey, it's been a busy week, not for me, for Miss Terry. Had to get her out there on the zero turn. She was mowing grass. She was out there pressure washing the back of the house because the back of our house faces north. It gets no sunlight. And if you live in like metal sided buildings or houses, you know that builds that moss up and stuff like that. So she's been last couple of days, Terry's been killing it. So she was out there scrubbing and power washing and doing, well, I was watching out the window. So appreciate that. We did get a visit from the home health physical therapist today. Last visit, guys, I've put the walker away and I started for the last week walking with a cane. And now I'm walking around the house without the cane, and everything is healing up great. The incision, the long incision on the side of my right side has healed up. So it looks a ton better than it did after the surgery. So I'm pretty happy about that. So it's healing up. Let's see. And so, and I appreciate all the wishes and prayers and stuff like that. And the physical therapist says I'm way ahead of the game. So I'm really happy about that. But I'm still taking it easy, not doing anything risky or anything like that. Terry still won't let me go trampsing outside and stuff like that in case I fall down and I'm back in the hospital. And thank you, Jerry. And I feel a lot better. In and out of bed, no pain. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the left side done, hopefully in beginning of November, and I can recover over the winter time and everything will go great. Hey, Pappy Smurf, how you doing? There's Pappy Smurf. Thank you for coming in. So, hey guys, like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about how to pick your MOS, things you need to know, things you need to do when you're joining, and probably one of the biggest things you need to do to solidify the rest of your career for at least the first contract when you sign up is decisions that you need to make. Okay. A lot of times people go into the recruiter and then they get stonewalled. And recruiters have a list of critical MOSs that the military wants them to fill. And they're going to push that so hard. They're going to tell you, hey, this is the only thing that we can offer you. Don't take that. If it's not in your career path that you want, don't take it. By no means, don't take it. And just say, hey, I'll have to go to another branch or whatever. They'll change their tune when they know you're not going to get pushed around. So parents, grandparents, make sure, or people that are thinking about joining, just make sure you're getting what you want. That's your career, not those recruiters. All right. Too many times, people look at it this way. When I joined, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I called my uncle. He was in the Navy. And I told him, I said, hey, I'm not smart. I did rather well on the ASVAB test, and I was surprised on that. And the ASVAB was different in 79 than it is now, because back in 79, the ASVAB was based on an 8th grade education. Now it's based on an 11th grade education. And there's two different standards. If you're a high school graduate, there's a standard. And if you are a GED, someone who got a GED, there's another standard for that now. So you got to be aware about that. And we're going to talk about all that as we go through this. We got several steps that I put into steps that will help people when you prioritize what you want to do. Okay. So step one, you must do your research on the MOSs, the job that you want in the military. Okay. Let's look at it this way. Like I said, I talked to my uncle about it, and he told me, Mike, you are a wild child. You rode bulls in the rodeo. You did all this stuff. You don't like taking orders. You've had your run-ins and stuff like that. Never got arrested, but had a few mishaps with the popo. He goes, my suggestion to you is join and become an MP, military policeman. I said, I've never even thought about being a cop. And he goes, it's going to be the best thing for you. Okay. And I said, why is it the best thing for me? He goes, you might as well be part of the criminals. That's what he called the MPs, you know, the shore police and the back in Vietnam and stuff like that. He goes, man, those guys were crooked as a politician, he said. And I go, wow, I never thought about that. So when I went in there, I said, hey, I want to be an MP. And they looked in there, they said, oh yeah, we can get you in there. And that was it. I was a quick recruit for them, you know, to fill one of their numbers and stuff like that, which are called quotas. And they have monthly quotas that the recruiters have to do. So, but what I'm talking about here is if your recruit or your future soldier that's going in, let's say they want to be a firefighter, okay? Dreamed all their life to be a firefighter. Do your research. Go online and look for the jobs within the firefighting realm within the military and see what the requirements are for that, okay? If you want to be, I don't know, an accountant, if you want to be a clerk, if you want to be whatever, you want to be a flight, a crew chief on a Black Hawk helicopter because you think that's just the best thing in the world, you need to get online and do your research to see what the military needs you to do to fulfill that job, okay? Talk to veterans or family members who have already served. I mean, they'll tell you the honest God truth on what it's all about, okay? I want to go in and I want to be an infantryman because my daddy was one and his daddy was one and stuff like that. But then you have to think about this. How many jobs on the outside are there for an infantryman? Yeah, there's leadership jobs and stuff like that, but how many jobs are there? Okay, let's say, hey, if you want to be a cop, but you're only 18 years old, and to be a police officer, you got to be 21 to carry a gun and stuff like that. So a lot of people go in and they become military policemen, no matter what branch it is. They get the experience, they get that on their resume, they get to go to the MP school, they get to learn about law, they get to learn about, accident investigation, crime scene, all that kind of stuff. You get all that training and you get to put that on your resume. So if you're only going to do one hitch and you get out after you're 21, you have that on your resume when you go and apply for a job somewhere because that's what you want to do. So make sure you look at those things and talk to your kid about, hey, what do they want? What is their long-term goal? Okay. And a lot of people don't care. They come in because they want that GI Bill. They want someone else, they want the government to pay for their college. And that's fine too. And they'll do that, right? Even if you're National Guard, most states have a great college plan if you want to go to college, and that's what they do. You got to have a little coffee there. Find out how the military jobs match the civilian job, like I said. Ask questions to the recruiter, and if the job you want isn't available, don't just take the offer they give you. That's crazy, because they're going to try to push you into it. I'll guarantee you. I've had hundreds and hundreds of soldiers underneath me, and they said, man, this is all they offered me. And that's the truth of the matter, and they'll try their best to do that. So you've got to know what you want. That's the first step. You've got to do your online research about that job. That's critical. Okay. Number 2, study for the ASVAB. All right. That's ASVAB. Poor scores mean less job opportunities. And that's the honest God truth, guys. The better you do, the more jobs open up. I mean, you can't just pass it for the minimum score. Okay, I want to be a medic, or I want to be whatever, and think you're going to get that job, because you're not going to get it. All right, you might be a cook, you might be a mechanic, you might be whatever. But on top of all that stuff, the minimum score, okay, when we're talking about the ASVAB, is they're looking at what your GT score is, number 1, to see how smart you really are. And number 2, your ST score. And we're going to talk about those. When you apply to join the military as an enlisted, you will take the Armed Forces Service Vocational Aptitude Battery, ASVAB, exam. This test covers 8 general subjects testings, not only your current knowledge, but also your propensity to learn in different subject areas. It contains questions on English, science, mechanics, electronics, just to name a few. High school seniors or graduates must achieve a 31 AFQT. All right. And that's your qualification test. Okay. All right. Terry just gave me a thing here. I got to find them first. Let's see. Neil S. says, research what you want to do in the military. If you pick wrong, it could make for a long enlistment. Absolutely. I knew going in I wanted to be a CB, spent 4 days on a boat my whole enlistment. Yeah. It is, if you, like I said earlier, if you get stuck with something you really don't want, you are going to be miserable. Okay. The camaraderie is there between the other service members and you, but it's the job. Okay. You got to be happy with it. And a lot of people have been in jobs they absolutely hate, and they can't get out of it because they can't lose pay, and that's one of the big things. And something may not ever open up for you. All right. Mike, why do older vets say don't volunteer for anything? Well, I'm going to tell you something. When you're in boot camp, nobody, and this was told to me by my uncle, never raise your hand and volunteer for anything, because the things that they want you to do while you're in boot camp is in addition to everything you're currently doing. And when you get downtime, you want downtime. And usually it's a detail that you don't want to be a part of. All right. That's why they say never volunteer. Don't be that guy or that gal that says, oh, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. And you find yourself on the side of the road picking up trash to beautify the installation when you could be up there spit shining your boots, getting your uniforms ready, resting, or whatever. So never volunteer. That's been around since the first Army days, at Valley Forge. Don't volunteer. It's never going to be good. All right. Let's see. Dana says, yeah, well, that is true. There is a call up period. I'm way too old for them to call me up. Okay. I am. I'm way too old, too broken down. I'll be the last thing they ever call up. But once you do, and we were gonna talk about this. When you sign up, you say, "Oh, I only signed up for 3 years. I only signed up for 4 years, or whatever." But you have an 8-year commitment. When you sign on the dotted line, and a lot of people, I didn't know this when I signed up. They may have said it, but I wasn't listening. Okay, I was just young and dumb. And you've got 8 years. So you could get out after 4 years, and then you're going to be on the individual ready reserve list for another 4 years, and they could call you up and you're going right back in. Okay. And if you don't, guess what? They'll come hunting for you. Let's see. What does it say? Don said, if you do too well, you end up doing something you don't want to do as well. Well, I mean, Don had one of those, you have to be a smart cookie jobs to get what she did. I think she was in the MI field, or she was in something that I talked to her before about. I can't remember. Yeah, they do. They have a lot of billets they have to fill because they're under strength. Not so much low density MOSs, but MOSs they've got that are critical. I wanted to be an infantryman because my dad was. I was 17, and due to the fact that the infantry, he was infantry, he refused to sign. Oh, wow. Well, he probably knew what you were getting into. Yeah. Pappy Murph says, yes, scored above a 95 and took the nuke test and passed. That also ended up as a nuke for 20 years. Yeah. Neil says, my father would volunteer for shore patrol. First night, they pulled into port. So the next night, he knew where the good bars were. Yeah. Jerry says it was 6 years when I was in. Yeah, okay. It was 6. It's 8 now. When I came in, it was 8 also. Dana, question. Years and told me he was in contact. He basically signed his life away to the military. Oh, wow. That had to be something really critical that they needed them back in there for. No doubt. But after the initial training, sometimes volunteering can get you out of. Oh, really? Wow. I love Germany. Deutschland was my best tour. So anyway, let's get back to this. So high school seniors and graduates must achieve a 31 on the test, their overall score, as the minimum qualification to join. GED holders must achieve a 50% on the qualification test. The Air Force has a good website that explains this process, and it's down in the description. So check that out if you want to learn more. Don said I was 2651 intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. Systems engineer. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I knew you did something that was, you had to be pretty smart. The two areas that are the most important for most all jobs in the military is your GT and your ST score, as I said before. The GT score is your technical score on the ASVAB. It is a combination of three test areas, okay? Arithmetic and reasoning, or arithmetic reasoning, word knowledge, and paragraph comprehension. Okay, they want to make sure that when you read something, you actually understand what's being said. They don't slow down in basic training for you. Okay, and I think that they still have it when you go through phases in the school. You have 3 chances to pass it. Okay, if you fail it on the third one, they recycle you because they said you're just too dumb to teach, and they'll put you in the MOS that they know they need to fill, and you get stuck in that MOS for the next 3 to 4 years. All right. So then the ST is skills, your skilled technical score on the ASVAB. It's a combination of general science and word knowledge. I don't even know which mouse to do. Paragraph comprehension, mathematics knowledge, and mechanical comprehension. So that's your ST. People who need a high ST score are people like mechanics, tank mechanics. They need to have one. Wheel mechanics, anything construction engineers and stuff like that. They need to have one. Even people who are tankers, they have to have a higher ST score because of all the maintenance and all that kind of stuff that they do. Now, as a soldier, as a Marine or whatever, you're always working on some kind of vehicle. Trust me. For the Army, every Monday was Motor Pool Monday, and you were down there all day long making sure that your vehicles were mission ready. Remember, ask your recruiter for a hard copy of the ASVAB study guide, and they can get you one. Or you can go online and find a copy. And you can also go online and take practice tests for the ASVAB. And that's critical. I didn't do none of that stuff. Okay. Back in the day, the high score on an ASVAB was 125 points when I came in. And my score, I had 119. And they said, "You sure you don't want a different job?" I said, "Nope. That's it. I want that job," and that was it. Okay. So remember, everything is online, guys. Everything is online, and you can go on there and you can take those tests. Make sure they study it. I mean, kids do it for college. They have practice ACTs and all that kind of stuff online, and you can practice for it before you actually take the test. So you get a working knowledge of what you're getting into. I called in artillery. I like smart folks. They don't care too much about the intelligence or of the cannoneers. Fun job being a young soldier blowing stuff up. Yeah. My like I said, how does that relate to, unless you get a job out here where I was, where they make all the munitions for all these service artillery pieces and, Patriots, all that kind of stuff. That's a place that you can use that for. Or you go back to the schoolhouse and you become an instructor as a civilian. There you go. So those are things you need to know. All right. Let me get on this mouse here so I can. Number 3, step 3, don't be in a rush to join. Okay, guys, don't be in a rush. So many of these kids, now. Don't be in a rush to join. Okay. Recruiters are trained to smell fear and hesitation. Once they see that, they're going to stick you in something you don't want, right? They do their best to fill the jobs in the military they want filled first. Okay, we talked about that. Choose at least 3 jobs. Okay, 3 jobs. Okay, let's say you wanted to be a cop, you wanted to be a firefighter, and let's say you wanted to be, I don't know, a prison guard. Why, I don't know. You can pick 3, and out of those 3, you have a better chance of getting one of those jobs. And again, do your research on those jobs and what it's going to entail. Okay. Stick to those jobs, and it will make the recruiter work for you and not you for them, so they can get their head count. Okay. There's nothing wrong. Pick 3 MOSs. Okay. If I got stuck with these 3, I can live with myself. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get that. Okay. Again, it's the ASFAB that says whether you can have that job or not, because they have cutoffs for the ASFAB. You don't even qualify for that. I'm sorry. Okay. Number 4, step 4, be physically fit before you go in. When I was a drill sergeant, I can't tell you how many fat bodies we got in, or people that couldn't even do 1 push-up or 1 pull-up when they went into basic training. Okay. And I'm going to tell you something. You are miserable. Why? If you fail the PT test, you go to retraining brigade, which is basically you go and get stuck with another set of drill instructors that their whole job is, number 1, if you're too heavy, okay, by the time you graduate, and I don't know how that can ever happen, but if you're too heavy, they go and put you on a diet and you just PT all day long. If you fail the PT test to graduate from basic, again, you're going to that company, and they're going to, I mean, it's going to feel like you're dying, because there's never no time that you're not doing physical training, and they will break you down to get you to quit the military, or you're going to get in shape, one of the two. So don't go to the recruiter out of shape. Know the height and weight standard before you go in. There's a height and weight standard that you've got to meet. Go online and research basic training requirements. Okay. Train yourself to pass the physical fitness test and build your body prior to going into the military. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to have a much better time being physically fit before you go in. So if you have kids that want to go in, they're playing Call of Duty and they're not doing anything, they're eating chips and, and doing stuff like that, and soda pops and all that stuff. I want to go in. I'm a Call of Duty nut, and I want to go in, and trust me, it's going to be painful for you if you're not in shape before you go into the military. Guys, it's crucial. All right. So we've gone over 4 steps so far. Let's see. What does Glenn say? Well, nothing besides what you learn to speak clearly and think the same thing. There's not a good job out there that doesn't require that. Exactly. And you got to be able to, I know in the Army, I don't know about the other branches, you have a thing called CTT testing before you get out. And that is a culmination of all your common task testing that you learn through basic training, your general orders, all that kind of stuff, range cards, call for fire, and you got to test out of all those things and stuff like that. And you got to recite all that stuff to the instructor that's testing you out. So you can't be passive. You've got to teach yourself to be aggressive and to be proactive when you're speaking in the military. Neil S. said, I gained 10 pounds of fat in boot camp. Really? Wow. Terry, what did Terry say? My grandfather was a medic in the Korean War and got changed to a cook because of all the traumatic stuff that he was seeing over. Oh, I bet. All right. I bet. In 1971, there was no ASVAB. 5 weeks of boot camp. They tested us for what field I was going to do. I wanted to be a mechanic and became a machinist mate. Did it for 20 years and loved it. There you go. My son aced the ASVAB, so every branch wanted him. Yes, he wanted to be a machinist mate like me. We both love being grease monkeys. There you go. There you go. Yeah, if you test high, guys, you can. The sky's the limit. They're not. If you max the ASVAB, nothing in their mouth is going to put you in one of those MOSs that they're trying to fill, unless you wanted it. Okay, but yeah, the sky's the limit if you ace that thing. Trust me, it's those are the guys they want. And then you've got to remember this. If you go in and you get out and you say, hey, I was over on Air Base, like me, I went over there and I went to Ramstein Air Force Base, and I'm going, these guys are living like kings, okay, compared to the armies, the way of life. And so I was looking into the Air Force, and they said, no. Your prior service, we don't want nothing to do with you. We're not going to retrain an Army guy. And they will not. I don't know a whole lot of people that ever got to switch from the Army to the Air Force. Now, a lot of people in the Army that I knew came from the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Air Force, and they came into the Army. Okay. Why they did that, I don't know. I did have a guy that came into the Army. I was a black hat instructor at the Air Assault School, and this guy came in and he had a Navy SEAL tab on his uniform. And I said, what would make you join the Army? You were a Navy SEAL. And you know what he told me? He said, I wanted the easy life and I wanted to get married and see my family. I said, oh, okay. Because he was deployed all the time. So there you go. All right, number 5, be prepared to sit down with the recruiter, okay? They're going to ask you why you want to join, okay? That's when they're going to feel you out for your fear. I don't know why I want to join. I just want to get out of town. They're going to try to stick you in something you don't want to do. They're going to ask you, do you have any criminal charges? Do you have a criminal background? They're going to find it. You can lie to them. I had a friend that was a recruiter in New Orleans, and he told me he'd get there every day and there'd be 60 to 100 people standing in line to get in, and they may get 1 or 2 of them in because they couldn't pass the criminal background check. They're going to ask you, have you graduated from high school, or do you have some kind of college degree? So have those documents with you when you do that. Have you used drugs of any kind? Because they're going to give you a piss test at the MEP station. Okay. They will set dates for you to go to the MEPs in that conversation, and when you're going to do your ASVAB, and also for your physical that you're going to do. And if you're gun shy about physicals, because you're going to stand there in your underwear, t-shirt and underwear, and they're just going to say next, and they're going to run you through like cattle. Okay. Be honest, because like I said, they're going to run a background check on, they're going to find out everything before you go in there. And when you do that, they know who you are. So if you come back later, now, can you get stuff corrected? Yes, you can. But you're going to have to hire a lawyer, and get stuff expunged from your record and stuff like that if you do or you did have some kind of criminal background. Okay. Let's see. Neil asks, I heard a lot of enlisted boatswain's mate. I don't know what that is. I know that's Navy. Went to the Army because to become boat officers. I will tell you that the only time I ever had anything to do with boats in the Army was for float bridge companies. Like when we went into Bosnia, we had to go across the Sava River, and when we went across, it was in December. And if you know anything about the Balkans, I mean, you are butt deep in snow every winter. And these poor guys they had like icicles coming off their uniform, and they were on the boats keeping that float bridge in place as we were crossing the Sava River. And I just looked at him. I was going, man, that ain't a job I wanted to do. Maybe in the summertime it's a good job or whatever, but in the wintertime, ain't so good. So yeah. All right. Let's see who else has something. We had PTSD and self-medicated with alcohol. Yeah. He ended up falling on some ice. Yeah. Terry's, and that's another thing about the military. You can enjoy your time, or you can be one of those people. I know so many people that I never drank before I went into the military. I had my first beer and stuff when I went to Germany, and I had a German beer. That was my first beer, and I'm telling you something. Yeah, that wasn't a good night. So yeah. I did Air Force because your job was first and most important. The bases were much nicer. Oh, I'm telling you something. Every Air Force base I've been in doesn't even come close to what an Army base is. I mean, there's a lot of good Army bases and stuff like that, but I know that we had the guys from the Air Force, our CAS teams they're assigned to the Army. Their CAS is their call for fire guys. So when they call in airstrikes and stuff like that, those Air Force guys work with the Army when we deploy and stuff like that. But when they stay on military bases in the barracks, and they get separate rations and housing because the Army barracks do not meet the Air Force standards for square footage. And, you know, every barracks I stayed in was old throughout my career. So let's see. Let me go back to this. Another thing, citizenship and residency. U.S. citizens and some non-citizens can join they can join the military. If you are not a citizen, you must have a U.S. permanent resident alien card, a green card, to join. Speak, read, and write English fluently. You cannot join the military to enter the U.S. or to get a visa. Okay? But before you make the rank of staff sergeant, okay, you have to become a U.S. citizen, because when you become a staff sergeant, you automatically get a security clearance. And if you're not a U.S. citizen, they can't grant you that, and you got to go. So if you join, you're not a U.S. citizen, but you have a resident alien card, you have to become a U.S. citizen before you become the rank of E6, which in the Army is a staff sergeant. Okay. How long do you have to serve in the military after enlisting? While total length of service commitment varies based on the service branch and needs of the occupational specialty, a first term as generally 4 years of active duty, followed by 4 years in the reserves or individual ready reserves. The IRR, individual ready reserve members, do not drill, but muster once a year, just to make sure, hey, your paperwork's in order, nothing's changed, you didn't lose fingers, and stuff like that. And plus, you might show up and you're overweight and stuff like that. So that's why you have to go in there and check in once a year. Okay. So, guys, those are the things that somebody who wants to join the military needs to know. Okay. You can do your research, and I put in the description also all the websites for all the recruiting commands for all the branches of services. If you actually look at it, the Air Force and Space Force is together because they recruit for the Space Force itself. Okay. Yes, you do not get retirement points for IRR. You do not. Okay. But let's say, like for myself, when I retired from the military, I became a government civilian, Department of the Army civilian. So when you do that, it's two different things. You've got your retirement years that you spend in the military, and then when you become, and you retired, then you have to start all over from year one as a civilian. However, for every year you spent in combat, okay, you get 6 months that they will add in, or they'll backdate your start date, your hire date, to match how many. So for me, it was a total of 5 years. So I got 2.5 years for actual credit time when I joined the civilian forces and stuff like that. But you got to check with your branch if it's the Air Force, Marine, or whoever you're working for as a civilian. I tell youngsters, just do 4 years in Space Force. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. One of the things, and people don't realize this, is that the Army recruits heavily for gamers for their drone program. And their drone program is down in Fort Huachuca, Arizona. And that's who they look for. And when they operate, one of the things that they do is the operators are in Fort Huachuca in the gray building, and they operate the drones that are in theater. Okay. But the people launching them and stuff are in theater. All the mechanics and stuff like that, crew chiefs and all that stuff, are in country servicing those drones. But the operators themselves are linked up with satellite, and they operate it from Fort Huachuca, Arizona. And I didn't know that. And I met one kid that was there, and I said, wow, what kind of ribbon is that you have on your uniform? And I was a civilian. I thought they came out with some new ribbon. And he goes, oh, that's my combat ribbon. I said, how long you been in? He goes, 6 months. He goes, I've been out of basic and AIT for 6 months. And I'm going, what? He goes, yeah, you get this for operating drones in country. You got to do it for so many months, and then you qualify for this ribbon or whatever. So I go, holy crap, I didn't know that. But they do recruit gamers. So if you got a gamer and they want to join the military, they need to look into programs like that where they can run drones or whatever they need these gamers for. Because some of them made great pilots too. So there you go. So let's see if there's any more. Yeah, cyber geeks. Seeing moms. They see combat from their mom's basement. Yeah. So, okay. So, guys, that's what I had for you tonight. I hope this gave you a little bit of insight on, and again, if you're a parent and you've got younger kids or grandkids or whatever, hope this opens your eyes up so they have a fighting chance when they go and see a recruiter, and they're doing the right things to make going into the military a lot easier than a lot of people had it in the past and stuff like that. Because for me, basic training was too easy. I mean, I was in, I think I went in, I was 185 pounds. I came out 165 pounds or something like that. And, I could run 2 miles in boots. And I think I did it in 14:01. That was my score back then. Couldn't run it now. I'd probably kill myself running it now at 63 years old, soon to be 64 in January. So, yeah. I spent 2 weeks at Fort Worth Chuka learning the ins and outs of the salute program. Yeah. Corona beer across the border. Yep. Yeah, now you can't even go across the border. Yeah, I remember those days when I was down in going to school, first sergeant school down in El Paso. We'd go across the border back then. I had a guy, he was from Puerto Rico, and he lost his wallet and he was trying to come back across the border. Man, they had to send the MPs and all kinds of people down there to get him back across. And that was the U.S. people wouldn't let him across because he had a really bad accent too. They wouldn't let him come back across. All right. So, hey, guys, again, that's what I had for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, I hope it opens your eyes. Hope you can help those young kids out there that in making smart decisions when they're doing that. I don't know. Does anybody have the answer to this one? Are they called boatswain's mates in the Coast Guard? Not really sure. I do know that it's kind of weird when I was doing the research on it. The Air Force requires a 31 and the Army requires a 31, but the Marine Corps requires a 35 minimum score, and so does the Coast Guard require that too. The Navy requires a 31 also on your ASVAB score. As far as your GT score, you got to score at least that to get in. But to get a good job, you got to do a lot better than that. Okay. Yes, the deckhands are. Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Everyone have a good evening. Stay safe and have fun. Yes, guys, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, Terry and I go live on MT Homestead. I hope you guys will join us then. It is hanging at the homestead with us. And guys, I'm glad you came in here. That's all I got for you tonight. Please, if you have a channel and you could share this out on your community tab for others to see that, to know about our channel. Hopefully we can help other people that's trying to find good information about the military, about being a veteran, about your VA benefits, about all that stuff to do with the military, guys. Hey, guys, we love you. Remember, be kind to one another, help somebody in need, and always, always think of that. Guys, until next time, have a blessed evening. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week, guys. Bye.